Hello everyone, in today's session we are going to learn about spotting errors. Let's begin. First of all, let's read the directions. The first direction is read the complete sentence before selecting the part with the error. Look for the error in the use of preposition, conjunction, adverb and verb particularly. Keep in mind the various exceptions to the grammatical rules. Remember, the sentence may not contain any error. Avoid extra effort and creating an error yourself. If there is no error, the answer is 5. Let's begin with the questions.
Let's read the disclaimer. The images used in a slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images.
The first sentence is, he does nothing but to find faults with others and laugh at them. You have options below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have found the answer. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 2, but to find faults. Let's look at the explanation. Use of to after nothing but is incorrect. He does nothing but watch TV. The sentence contains an error in part 2. The phrase but to find faults is incorrect because after nothing but the verb should not be in the infinitive form with to. The construction nothing but is followed by a base form of a verb, not the infinitive, which means you have to use infinitive without to. That is known as bare infinitive. The correct form would be nothing but find instead of nothing but to find. This is because nothing but is used to mean only, merely, and is typically followed by the base form of the verb. So the correct sentence should read, he does nothing but find faults with others and laugh at them. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The chief minister should not let the terrorist activities to grow in our state. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is to grow in our state. Let's look at the explanation. The sentence contains an error in part 4. The phrase to grow is incorrect because after the verb let, the base form of the verb without to should be used. This is a common rule in English. When let is used, it is followed by directly the base form without the infinitive to. So the correct sentence should be, the chief minister should not let the terrorist activities grow in our state. This ensures the correct grammatical structure where let is followed by the base form of the verb grow. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, it's better to stay at home than to go to market when it's raining. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have found. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 2, at home than to. Let's look at the explanation. The explanation is delete to, use of, to. After than is incorrect. It's better to study than wander here and there. The sentence contains an error in part 2. The phrase then to is incorrect. After then, you should use the base form of the verb without to. This is a common structure when comparing two actions, especially after better or other similar expressions, like rather. In this case, the correct form would be, it's better to stay at home than go to the market, without to before go. So the correct sentence is, it's better to stay at home than go to the market when it's raining. The use of to after then is unnecessary and should be removed as shown in the correction. This ensures the sentence is grammatically correct and maintains proper usage of comparative structures. I hope you have understood. The next sentence is, without taking proper care, the doctors would not have been saved the life of this patient. Options are given below. You have to spot the error. I hope you have found the answer. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 3, not have been saved. Let's look at the explanation. The explanation is, the sentence contains an error in part 3. The phrase not have been saved should be corrected to not have saved. This is because the structure have been saved is passive, but in this context it should be active. The doctors perform the action of saving the patient, so we need the active form, which is have saved. In passive voice, subject, in this case the life of this patient, is the receiver of the action, but here the doctors, the subject of the sentence, are the ones performing the action. Hence saved should directly follow have without been. So the correct sentence would be, without taking proper care, the doctors would not have saved the life of this patient. I hope you have understood. Let's look at the next sentence. The sentence is, taking breakfast, he went to the office and ordered the staff to complete the work without any further delay. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is taking breakfast. Option number 1. The explanation is, the sentence contains an error in part 1. The phrase taking breakfast should be replaced with after taking breakfast or having taken breakfast. This is because taking breakfast is grammatically awkward and not idiomatic. When describing two actions where one happens before the other, we use either after or having followed by the past participle, which means V3, to indicate the prior action. After taking breakfast is more straightforward, indicating the sequence of events, whereas having taken breakfast is more formal construction and also indicates that the action of having breakfast occur before the next event. In this sentence, the phrase taking breakfast needs to express the idea that the person completed the action of having breakfast before going to the office. So the correct sentence would be, after taking breakfast, he went to the office and ordered the staff to complete the work without any further delay. Whereas you can also use, having taken breakfast, he went to the office and ordered the staff to complete the work without any further delay. Either can be used with similar meanings. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. Reading newspapers will help you in understand banking and business concepts. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is in understanding banking. Option number 3. Let's look at the correct explanation. The sentence contains an error in part 3. The phrase in understand should be replaced with in understanding. The reason is that after the preposition in, the verb must be in its gerund form, ending ing. The gerund form is required when the verb follows a preposition to indicate the action being performed. In this case, understand is incorrect because it is in its base form, while understanding is the correct gerund form. So the corrective sentence would be, reading newspaper will help you in understanding banking and business concepts. This makes the sentence grammatically correct by using the gerund form after the preposition in. There is a rule, you have to use gerund forms after prepositions. So stick to it. Let's move to the next question. The next sentence is, having had reached the station, you may take a telephone to your boss. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 1. Having had reached. Let's look at the correct explanation. The sentence contains an error in part 1. The phrase having had reached is incorrect because the verb had is unnecessary. In this context, the phrase having reached is enough to indicate that the action of reaching the station has already been completed. Before the next action, making a telephone call occurs. The use of having had is redundant and grammatically incorrect in this case. It is not required to express the past perfect tense here, and having reached alone suffices to show that the action was completed before the next one. So the correct sentence should be, having reached the station, you may make a telephone to your boss. This correction eliminates the unnecessary had and makes the sentence grammatically correct. I hope you have understood. The next sentence is, many persons are coming to his concert to hear him to sing the religious song. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 3. To hear him to sing. Let's look at the correct explanation. The correct explanation is, the sentence contains an error in part 3. The phrase to hear him to sing is incorrect because the verb here, the base form of the verb, should be used, not the infinitive form, to sing. In this case, the verb here is followed directly by the base form of the verb without to. This is a common structure when using verbs like see, hear, feel, watch, etc. with another verb. So the correct sentence should be, many persons are coming to his concert to hear him sing the religious song. This ensures proper use of the base form of the verb sing after hear. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, we are in the final stage of resolve the issue which has been pending for over 2 years. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 2, or resolve the issue. Let's look at the correct explanation. Use resolving in place of resolve. A preposition is always followed by a gerund. The sentence contains an error in part 2. The word resolve should be replaced with resolving. The reason is that when a preposition like of is used, it must be followed by a gerund, the plus ing form of the verb. In this case, since of is the preposition, it should be followed by resolving, or the base form resolve. So the correct sentence would be, we are in the final stage of resolving the issue which has been pending for over 2 years. This ensures the sentence is grammatically correct by using a gerund after the preposition of. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The next sentence is, when he entered the home, he found the child sleeping and the fan moved slowly. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 4 and the fan moves slowly. Let's look at the correct explanation. The sentence contains an error in part 4. The word moves should be replaced with moving. The reason is that the phrase the fan moves slowly is inconsistent with the earlier part of the sentence. The structure he found the child sleeping sets a past continuous action, so the next action should also follow this pattern. Using moving creates a parallel structure, maintaining the past participle form that matches the first part of the sentence. So the corrective sentence would be, when he entered the home, he found the child sleeping and the fan moving slowly. Let's ensure that the sentence is grammatically correct and consistent in its tense and structure. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, going towards the gate with a cup of tea, somebody switch off the light. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. Going towards the gate, option number 1. Let's look at the correct explanation. The sentence contains an error in part 1. The phrase going towards the gate is a dangling modifier because it lacks a clear subject and makes it seem like somebody is going towards the gate with a cup of tea, which is not the intended meaning. The subject of the sentence is somebody, not the person going towards the gate. So the modifier is incorrectly placed. To correct this, the phrase should clarify the subject and the action. While he was going towards the gate, introduces a clear subject, he, and a verb, resolving the issue of the dangling modifier. The correct sentence would be, while he was going towards the gate with a cup of tea, somebody switched off the light. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, winter is the best season to explore the outdoors. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have understood. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 4. Explore the outdoors. Let's look at the correct explanation. Use explore in place of explored. First form of the verb is used with to infinitive. The sentence contains an error in part 4. The word explored should be replaced with explore. The reason is that when using the infinitive form after to, the base form of the verb is required. In this case, to functions as part of the infinitive. So explore, the base form, should be used instead of explored, the past tense. So the correct sentence would be, winter is the best season to explore the outdoors. This makes the sentence grammatically correct by using the base form of the verb after to. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, he asked me to completely forget her, but I know it was not possible. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is to completely forget her. Let's look at the correct explanation. The error is in part 2. The phrase completely forgot her should be replaced with forget her completely. The reason is that this is the case of split infinitive. An adverb, as in the sentence completely, must not split an infinitive structure 2 plus v1. Hence, the adverb completely should be placed after the verb forget to modify it. So the correct sentence is, he asked me to forget her completely, but I know it was not possible. This ensures proper word order and clarity. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The land records of these districts will computerize by next year. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is will computerize. Let's look at the explanation. Say will be computerized or will have been computerized. The sentence contains an error in part 3. The phrase will computerize should be replaced with will be computerized or will have been computerized. The reason is that computerize is an action that is happening to the land records, a passive action. So we need to use the passive voice. In passive constructions, the correct future tense is will be plus past participle. In this case, will be computerized. Alternatively, if you want to emphasize the completion of the action by a future time, you could use will have been computerized, future perfect passive, which indicates that the action will be fully completed by a certain point in the future. So the correct sentence would be either the land records of the district will be computerized by next year, indicating a simple future passive. The land records of the districts will have been computerized by next year, emphasizing completion of by next year. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and ensures proper use of the passive voice. I hope you have understood. The sentence is, I have been knowing her for many years, but I do not know where she works. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is, I have been knowing her. Option number 1. Replace I have been knowing by I have known. The sentence contains an error in part 1. The phrase I have been knowing should be replaced with I have known. The verb know is a state verb which typically describes a state or condition rather than an action in progress. State verbs are not used in the continuous tense. Example, I have been knowing, because they don't describe actions that can be actively happening over time. So the correct phrase is I have known her for many years, which properly uses the present perfect tense to indicate an ongoing state from the past to the present. The correct sentence is I have known her for many years, but I don't know where she works. This makes the sentence grammatically correct. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. A philogynist is a person who loves women, but a misogynist is a person who is hating women. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 4. Who is hating women? Replace who is hating by who hates. The phrase who is hating should be replaced with who hates. The reason is that the word hate is a state verb, which is not used in the continuous tenses, as it does not refer to any activity. So using hate in a continuous tense is incorrect. Use hates instead. So the corrected part would read, a philogynist is a person who loves women, and a misogynist is a person who hates women. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clearer. Let's move to the next question. He switched on the light before he entered the room. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 5, no error. The explanation, the sentence is correct as it stands. So the answer is 5, no error. The sentence, he switched on the lights before he entered the room, is grammatically correct because it follows the proper sequence of events using the simple past tense. The action of switching on the light happened before the action of entering the room, which is clearly expressed. The use of past tense switch and enter is appropriate since both actions happen in the past and are presented in the correct order. Therefore, there is no error in the sentence. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is we have spent most of the profits that we earned last year on purchasing new computers. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to answer. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 3, that we earn. Use earn in place of earn. The sentence contains an error in part 3. The phrase that we earn should be replaced with that we earn. The reason is that the main clause we have spent most of the profit is in the present perfect tense. Using have spent, this tense is used to describe actions that were completed at some point in the past but are relevant to the present. Since the profits were from last year, which is in the past, we need to use the past tense in the relative clause to match the time frame. So the correct tense is here is earn instead of earn present simple because we are referring to something that happened in the past last year. So the correct sentence would be we have spawned most of the profits that we earned last year on purchasing new computers. This ensures the verb tense is consistent and reflects the timeline properly. Let's move to the next question. She came to the party much later than I expect. You have options. 10 seconds to answer. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is I expect. The correct explanation is replace I expect by I had expected. The phrase I expect should be replaced with I had expected. This is because the sentence is describing a situation in the past, the party and her arrival, and it refers to an expectations that was held before the event happened. When expressing a past expectations about something that occurred in the past, we use the past perfect tense had expected. The use of I expect is incorrect here because it is in the present tense, which does not match the past timeline established by she came to the party much later. So the correct sentence would be she came to the party much later than I had expected. This ensures that the verb tense aligns properly with the rest of the sentence. I hope you've understood. Let's move to the next question. The teacher told us that we should remain in the hostel if it rains. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you've answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is if it rains. Let's look at the correct explanation. Replace if it rains by if it rained. The reason is that the main clause is in past. The teacher told us, so subordinate clause will also be in past, as a subordinate clause is a dependent clause, which is dependent on the main clause. So the correct sentence would be, the teacher told us that we should remain in the hostel if it rained. This maintains the consistency of tenses and properly conveys the meaning. I hope you've understood. Let's move to the next question. If he would have done this, he would have done wrong and would have deceived many of his relatives. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 1. If he would have done this. And the explanation is replace if he would have done this by if he had done this. The sentence contains an error in part 1. The phrase if he would have done this should be replaced with if he had done this. In conditional sentences that describe unreal situations in the past, third conditional, we use the past perfect tense had done. After if to express a hypothetical scenario, the structure if plus past perfect is used to talk about something that did not happen in the past and is possible result. The incorrect phrase, if he would have done this, is a common mistake, as it incorrectly combines a past perfect tense with a conditional modal, would have. The correct structure is if he had done this, because it aligns with the rules of the third conditional. The corrective sentence would be, if he had done this, he would have done wrong and would have deceived many of his relatives. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and properly conveys a hypothetical past event. I hope you have understood. So this is all about this session. Thank you.